1. Monarchy. A monarchy is a system where a king or queen rules a country. The position is usually inherited, passed down through a royal family. There are absolute monarchies, like Saudi Arabia, where the monarch has total control. And there are constitutional monarchies, like the UK, where the monarch is more of a symbolic figurehead and elected officials run the government. Monarchies are some of the oldest forms of government, dating back thousands of years. Royal families are often seen as symbols of tradition, national pride, or even stability. However, critics argue that monarchies can be undemocratic and outdated. Despite this, many monarchies still exist today, some holding great power and others existing primarily for ceremonial duties. 2. Democracy. Democracy means rule by the people. In a direct democracy, citizens vote on every issue, think ancient Athens. But most modern democracies are representative, where citizens elect leaders to make decisions on their behalf. Countries like the US, India, and Germany use this system. Democracies rely on elections, free speech, rule of law, and equal rights. The idea is to give power to the people and prevent tyranny. However, democracies can be slow, messy, and vulnerable to misinformation or political polarization. Still, it's often seen as the fairest form of government in the modern world. 3. Republic. A republic is similar to a democracy, but with an important twist: the head of state is elected, not inherited. The US is a republic, where a president leads the nation instead of a monarch. In republics, power is held by the people and their elected representatives. There's usually a constitution that limits government power and protects rights. Some republics are very democratic, while others might hold elections but still have authoritarian rulers. The term dates back to the Roman Republic and has evolved over centuries. Republics aim to blend democracy with structure and law. However, not all republics are free. North Korea calls itself a republic. 4. Communism. Communism is a political and economic system where the government owns all property and means of production. The idea is to create a classless society where wealth is shared equally. In theory, everyone works for the common good and receives what they need. But in practice, communist governments like the Soviet Union or Maoist China often turned authoritarian. Leaders controlled speech, crushed dissent, and ruled with iron fists. Critics argue that communism stifles innovation and freedom. Supporters say it can prevent poverty and exploitation. While few true communist states exist today, its ideas still influence politics in many countries. 5. Socialism. Socialism is a system where the government plays a large role in the economy, especially in providing public services. Think free healthcare, education, or public housing. The goal is to reduce inequality and make sure everyone has basic needs met. Unlike communism, socialism doesn't always abolish private property or free markets. Countries like Sweden and Norway are often labeled democratic socialist because they mix capitalism with strong social welfare. Critics say socialism can lead to high taxes and government overreach. Supporters argue it's fairer and more humane. It's a broad term, and different nations apply it in different ways. 6. Theocracy. In a theocracy, the government is run by religious leaders, and laws are based on religious texts. Iran is a modern example, where Islamic clerics hold top political power. In ancient history, Egypt's pharaohs were considered gods, ruling both spiritually and politically. Theocracies believe divine guidance is the best source of law and leadership. Critics say they limit freedom of religion and personal choice. Citizens who don't follow the dominant religion may face discrimination or worse. Theocracies often resist modern secularism. Still, they exist because many see spiritual law as superior to man-made law. 7. Oligarchy. An oligarchy is a system where power rests with a small, elite group of people, usually the wealthy, military, or political insiders. These elites make decisions that serve their interests, not the general public. Russia is often cited as an example, where wealthy oligarchs wield massive influence. Oligarchies can hide behind other systems, like calling themselves democracies, while controlling everything from behind the scenes. They often limit press freedom and control key institutions. This creates inequality and undermines public trust. While not always official, oligarchies can exist anywhere power becomes too concentrated. They're criticized for fostering corruption and suppressing dissent. 8. Dictatorship. A dictatorship is when one person holds absolute power, often gained and kept through force. These rulers usually control the military, media, and courts to silence opposition. North Korea's Kim Jong-un is a modern example. In dictatorships, elections may be rigged or entirely absent. Citizens often have few freedoms and live in fear of punishment for speaking out. While some dictators claim to bring stability, most rule through fear, censorship, and propaganda. Over time, dictatorships can become cults of personality, where the leader is treated almost like a god. The system usually collapses violently or evolves into something else. 9. Anarchy. Anarchy is the absence of a formal government. It's not necessarily chaos. Some believe people can govern themselves without rulers. But without law enforcement or institutions, it often leads to disorder. Temporary anarchies sometimes occur after revolutions, wars, or government collapse. Somalia in the 1990s experienced a near-complete lack of central government. Some groups, like anarchists, advocate for stateless societies where people cooperate voluntarily. Critics argue it's unrealistic and dangerous. Supporters say it's the only way to be truly free. In practice, most anarchies don't last long before another system takes over. 10. Federalism. Federalism is a system where power is divided between a central, national, government and smaller regional governments. Like states or provinces. This setup allows different regions to govern themselves on local issues, while still being part of a united nation. The United States, India, and Germany are prominent examples of federal systems. It helps accommodate diverse cultures, languages, or economies within one country. Local governments can tailor laws to their needs, while the central government handles national matters like defense and currency. However, conflicts can arise when federal and local laws clash. Federalism promotes decentralization, which can prevent authoritarianism. But it can also create confusion, especially in emergencies or legal